When I got notified that Trump wanted to name the Commanders Stadium after himself, I wrote to Coca, real or not real? That can't be real. Well, it turns out it's totally real. Now, it is true. Where they are building the new Commanders Stadium, the name of that stadium used to be RFK. RFK is not a sports drink. RFK is a person. It is true. Ronald Reagan Airport in D.C., John F. Kennedy Airport, Fiorello LaGuardia. Yes, you can get an airport named it yourself. As a matter of fact, it's very common, actually. John Wayne even has an airport. Ballparks, doable. Is anyone surprised that Trump wants to have the Commanders ballpark named after him? I'm just asking. Because what he thinks is that this deal, this stadium, can't happen without him, and that he is the one who is putting the money in on behalf of the federal government and on behalf of the District of Columbia. He's the one who believes that he's got the power over the approvals. So therefore, let's take the power out for a ride, which is what people do who have power, and came up with what better way, putting myself on the $5 bill? Forget it. No one uses cash anymore. I don't want to be on money. Putting myself on a stadium? Now we're talking. Here's the problem with naming the stadium Trump Field, Trump Stadium, Trump Park, is that Trump is not going to pay for that, obviously. And the Commanders, in order to get this stadium deal approved by the National Football League, will need a level of revenue, and part of that revenue is naming rights. Are there examples where there are stadiums that are not named? There are. There are. Nationals Park comes to mind. Not for lack of trying. What I'm very interested in is that if Josh Harris gives in to this and the new facility becomes called Trump Stadium, do you agree or disagree that we are leaving ourselves quite open to not honoring those people who have passed, or maybe some who are still alive, with the being on a name or being on a street or getting an airport? Do you not realize that what we're getting closer and closer to is quid pro quo? Quid pro quo means I do something for you, you do something for me, and we all live happily ever after. We do quid pro quos throughout the course of our day. We do it in relationships. We do it at work. It's when we make decisions. All right, we'll give in. All right, I'll choose the restaurant tomorrow. You choose the one tonight. I'll see the movie you like tonight if tomorrow we can see Frankenstein. Whatever the case is, I will give this up in this negotiation, but I want something back. When the power dynamic within that trade is such that definitionally it can't be equal, and no, I am not talking about collective bargaining where people perceive that management has that power and players don't. That is not what I'm referring to. I am referring to in government, when a president, a sitting president, has the power to pardon, when the sitting president uses that power to pardon to allow for behavior that is so unacceptable, but there's no consequence, therefore there's no deterrent, because the pardon's gonna come as long as you are playing ball the way the president wants you to play the game. I'm talking about when you are doing a deal with another company, a merger. You're combining your companies, but you're forced to do something because the government can stop the merger. And in order to get the government's permission, the government's buy-in, you need to do something that you would never do. I'm talking about the way upper-level economic and academic institutions are acting. I'm talking about the way companies are acting. And why wouldn't they? How stupid do you have to be, carrying that thread from the beginning of the show, when you are given a path to profit, when you are given a path to prosperity and you spit on it? How stupid do you have to be? Just last night, buried. Trump pardoned 77 people, all involved in the plot to overturn the 2020 election. 77 of them pardoned. from Giuliani on down to Chief of Staff Mark Meadows on down. All people, whether they worked together to submit names of fake electors, whether they did things in the legal system that were untoward, whether they did things that tried to convince the country that its democracy was falling. Why try to convince a country a democracy is falling when you can topple it yourself?